Moving on to the ESPN Daily. Good morning. Everybody get up. It's time to slam now. That is to say, the NBA is back today. Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. Dr. Fauci on the return of sports. I really don't give a fuck what Dr. Fauci has to say. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Dr. Anthony Fauci joins Pablo Torre to discuss the challenges, risks, and rewards of the return of sports in America after more than 4 months of shutdown due to the coronavirus panic. It's an issue that has become increasingly stark in recent days with the outbreak of COVID-19 among the Miami Marlins. Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, weighs in on MLB's response to the Marlins situation and what it means for the rest of the baseball season. He also discusses leagues operating in a bubble, like the NBA, and assesses the NHL's decision to play in Canada. While the NFL commences its training camps and college football considers its options, Fauci explores the possibilities surrounding football season and describes the long-term effects of the coronavirus on athletes. Then, one of Fauci's high school basketball teammates gives us some insight on what Fauci was like as an athlete. Well, judging by his pitch, probably not much. Things to care about. So Notre Dame can win the ACC now? Everyone who has shouted from the rooftops that Notre Dame football needs to join a conference finally gets to see how it plays out, even if it is for this season only. The ACC made its scheduling decision on Wednesday, opting for 10 conference games, including Notre Dame, and 1 non-conference game. That leaves the SEC and Big 12 as the only leagues that have not made an announcement about what they plan to do about scheduling. But back to the ACC. There will be no divisions for this season, so the 2 teams with the highest winning percentage in league play will meet up in the ACC championship game. Notre Dame picks up Florida State, North Carolina, Syracuse, and Boston College, and already had Clemson and Louisville scheduled, giving the Irish the projected top 3 teams in the league for 2020. This also sets up to potentially get a Clemson-Notre Dame rematch in Charlotte, North Carolina. Even though the ACC's decision provides a few more answers, many questions remain. From where the SEC and Big 12 stand now to the likelihood of a spring season, Andrea Adelson and Heather Dinnick address the sea of unknowns surrounding the college football season. Why are there so many female sports people working for ESPN? They just so diverse, huh? Sounds like they'd be more diverse if they added some more men. Did sports just get less gross? When you actually stop to think about it, sports are pretty gross. There is the spitting, the licking, the spewing, the sweating, and the act I would like very much to pretend I've never taken part in, the snot rocketing. Okay. If you don't know what that is, let's keep it that way. Grossness aside, the flinging of bodily fluids is as much a part of the game as the numbers on the scoreboard. These less than hygienic gestures are not only ingrained in the culture of sports, but inadvertent and sometimes unavoidable acts. Have you ever tried to hold back a sneeze? If you know, you know. Quote, "There's more saliva exchanged in a baseball game than there is at a high school dance." Dr. George Rutherford, professor and director of epidemiology and biostatistics at the University of California, San Francisco. I find that extremely questionable. Baseball is not a contact sport. At least not a full contact sport. So what happens now that the coronavirus has prompted a referendum on societal cleanliness? Can sports still be this gross when games are being played during a global panic? Greg Wyshynski did a deep dive into the dark underbelly of bodily expulsions and secretions in sports and how leagues will try to curb them to combat the virus. If it sounds fascinating, that's because it is. Okie dokie. NHL postseason preview. Rejoice, NHL fans! On Saturday, the hunt for Lord Stanley's Cup begins. Unlike the traditional playoff format, the league is running a 24-team tournament with 12 teams from each conference playing in fanless arenas in Toronto for the East and Edmonton, Alberta for the West. The top 4 teams in each conference are in the round of 16, and seeds 5 through 12 will square off to see who will take the next step toward immortality. Although there are a few lingering questions about how this will work, It is 2020 after all. It promises to be one heck of a viewing experience for hockey fans. How will the matchups play out? And why will the Caps win all? I mean, who will advance? Emily Kaplan and Greg Wyshynski take an in-depth look at each qualification round matchup and round-robin group to make their picks. We scroll Twitter so you don't have to. From ESPN, LeBron's got a new nickname for AD. Anthony Jabbar Davis. It's Masked LeBron, Headband LeBron, Respect Brow. Anthony Davis broke out some protective eyewear at Lakers practice Wednesday after being inadvertently poked in the eye by Michael Carter-Williams during Saturday's scrimmage against the Orlando Magic. While it remains to be seen whether AD will rock the goggles in tonight's game against the Clippers, LeBron couldn't help but have some fun with his teammates' new look. Personally, I prefer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but what do I know? Okay. Things to watch. No love for Cam Newton. Stop me if you've heard this before. Cam Newton is being disrespected. The NFL Network compiled a list of the league's top 100 players of 2020 and left Newton off of it. While that revelation might be jarring to any fan of the former MVP and current quarterback of the New England Patriots, Jalen Rose was especially baffled by the omission. To properly express his opinion on the matter, Jalen put together a list of songs Cam can use for added motivation this year. All I'm saying is, if Cam's Comeback SZN becomes a playlist on Spotify, I'm smashing the download button. Season? Is that season? Sabrina shows out. Say it with me now. Sabrina Ionescu is the truth. The number one pick put the basketball world on notice when she went off for 33 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds in her second WNBA game. As Steph Curry so aptly tweeted after the game, sheesh. Okay. Overheard. They're not cheating their way to get there. Jock Peterson on if this year's World Series winner should have an asterisk. Well, no. That's not always what an asterisk is for. It's just denotes some extra information, some extra context. Remember when? On this day in 2018, Lionel Messi provided us with some supremely wholesome content when he shared a video of himself playing keep away with a small horse, his gigantic and adorable dog. Watching this video multiple times will lift your mood. It's scientifically proven. Until next time, remember, on June 30th, I wrote in this newsletter that J.R. Smith was about to have himself a Ron Artest in the 2010 NBA Finals moment. I just wanted to take the opportunity to double down on that prediction so you all can laud me when it comes true. It has nothing to do with the fact Swish went off in the Lakers' last scrimmage. It's just a feeling I have. This has been your ESPN Daily for Thursday, July 30th, 2020. And that's all for ESPN. Last of all, Yahoo Sports Read and React. Report: rampant abuse at NBA academies in China. Who's abusing whom? NFL approves team COVID plans, clearing way for training camps to begin. Isn't that old news? Lamar Jackson lobbies Ravens to sign Antonio Brown. Wait, Patrick Mahomes ranks where on the NFL's list of best players? I think it was 4, right? It's either 3 or 4, but I'm pretty sure it was 4. Longtime Illini coach Lou Henson dead at 88. The lead, Beaning versus Cheating by Jay Hart. Morning. So here's the question we're digging into today. What's more egregious, a fastball high and tight or cheating? If you've got a memory that stretches way back to January, you might remember the uncovering of that little Houston Astros cheating scandal where they were banging on trash cans to tip pitches to batters, in particular during the 2017 season and postseason when they beat the Dodgers to win the World Series. Well, the two teams are now in the midst of a 3-game series, which boiled over a bit Tuesday night when LA's Joe Kelly fired a few heaters, maybe intentionally, at Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa. Following the brouhaha, Houston manager Dusty Baker had this to say in defense of his players. "You don't throw at a guy's head. That's playing dirty baseball." Agree. Then again, the only reason Baker is the manager of the Astros is because the Astros played dirty baseball. They cheated, they won a World Series, and not a single Astros player has been suspended, even a single game, which is 8 fewer than MLB handed Kelly on Wednesday. Some might call this appeasement. If there's punishment for the retaliation but not the crime, and the reward is a ring and maybe a fatter contract, what's stopping another group of players from doing the same thing? Maybe it's a Joe Kelly fastball at the noggin, which, while dangerous, isn't necessarily any more so than Alex Bregman sitting on a fastball he knows is coming from a pitcher, standing 60 feet away, who doesn't know Bregman knows it's coming. Certainly a 90-mile-per-hour fastball is preferable to a 110-mile-per-hour screamer off a bat, right? And an argument can be made that Bregman actually had more of a heads-up that a ball could be coming his way than, say, Joe Kelly might have had with the Red Sox in the 2017 ALDS. This isn't to say Kelly is justified in throwing at the Astros, but Major League Baseball made this bed when it opted not to punish the Astros players back in January. What say you? Wetzel. Part hoops, part Hunger Games. The NBA's ambitious plan. Well, they certainly have been pitting people against each other in a extra, ultra kind of way with their COVID tip line. Schwab. Dak for MVP? The Cowboys quarterback has money riding on 2020. Honestly, even if we do get to the Super Bowl and manage to win, I don't think that the MVP would be Dak. Goodwill. Ja versus Zion, breaking down the Rookie of the Year debate. The kicker. Rest in peace, Carol, hater of Tom Brady. Scarcella Carroll of Lackawanna, New York, entered into rest on July 19, 2020. Beloved mother of Norma Milholland and Remo Jerry Scarcella. Cherished grandmother of Christopher Maxwell, Megan, Agatha, RJ, Chad, Brandon, and Chelsea. Predeceased by her parents, Remo and Agatha Scarcella, and brother Richard. Survived by her brother Louis, Mary, and sister-in-law Eileen, as well as many nieces and nephews. 5 things about Carol. 1. She loved to read. Her favorite author was Stephen King. She had a private library of hundreds of books. 2. She loved to smoke. She smoked millions of cigarettes. 3. She loved slot machines and Facebook games. She never won millions, but she had the biggest farm in all of Farmville and made it to the millionth level on Candy Crush. 4. She was an avid sports fan. She loved the New York Yankees and LeBron James. She hated Tom Brady. 5. When her children were growing up, she was involved with their school PTA, coached their sports teams, and volunteered through Lackawanna Little Leagues. She was a mother, father, coach, mentor, and friend. Private funeral services were held with Carol's immediate family. Okay. Rest in peace, Carol, hater of Tom Brady. Okay. That's it for Sundry Sports. Thank you and good night.